The Crown is a period drama that covers the early reign of Queen Elizabeth II, kicking it off with her marriage to Philip Mountbatten in 1947, the ending around the time of Winston Churchill's resignation in 1955. It's a fascinating examination of the relationship between the Crown and government, and an intriguing character study of a young woman thrust into the most incredible circumstances. Here's why The Crown is a must-watch show. First up, the exceptional writing. You don't have to look far to see why this immensely popular show carries such a large following, as it was written by one of the most renowned writers in the industry, Peter Morgan. Morgan has carved out quite a career for himself over the last 10 years, taking real-life people and events and dramatizing them on stage, on film, and now television. From The Last King of Scotland to Frost Nixon to The Damned United and Rush, Morgan seems to have a knack for breathing fresh life into historical events. However, the subject of the royal family has been constant for Peter Morgan. Not only has he written Henry VIII for the small screen, but he also wrote The Queen and The Other Boleyn Girl for the big screen, as well as The Audience for the stage. Even though the show is technically a soap opera revolving around typical family drama, Morgan never let the show get too boring or slip into a melodrama. His dialogue is filled with both truth and conviction, making the royal family feel like real people rather than just faces in the media. Next up is the remarkable performances. Claire Foy recently took home the Golden Globe Award for Best Lead Actress in a Drama Series, and justifiably so, following her striking transformation into Queen Elizabeth, which in and of itself is an incredibly challenging role, as the Queen's job is to remain neutral, both in public and in private. So Foy has very little to work with emotionally, and yet throughout the series you're left with little doubt about what she's actually thinking and feeling as the crown slowly starts to weigh down on her. After seeing Claire Foy, it was hard to imagine how the role of the Queen could possibly be filled by anyone else. However, the moment we first laid eyes on Olivia Colman as the middle-aged monarch, we were hooked. Not surprisingly, Colman also won a Golden Globe for her portrayal, which follows the Queen into her late 50s. Verity Russell is another astounding actress who played the young Princess Elizabeth with such an amazing presence in the first season of The Crown. Even though we only saw her speak in 3 episodes, her portrayal of the young, self-effacing princess gave us a powerful window into what it must be like for the Queen early on. Spending the first 10 years of her life never suspecting she would ascend to the throne, and never seeing herself as any different from her sister, Princess Margaret, before being thrust into the spotlight. Matt Smith is another actor whose role as Philip, the Playboy prince whose naval career ends when Elizabeth takes over the throne, has become synonymous with the show. Even while Philip's modern public persona in real life is somewhat pathetic, Smith actually has you feeling sorry for the individual, portraying him as a struggling man whose level's below his wife. Tobias Menzies also came through with a masterful performance as the middle-aged husband of Queen Elizabeth. One scene in particular which showcases Menzies' chops is when he, Philip, attempts to talk reason to an agitated and desperately unhappy Princess Diana. In it, we see the awkwardness that the not-so-quite patriarch might have been feeling as he tried to school his headstrong daughter-in-law on what the world of royalty was all about. Emma Corrin's portrayal of the doomed princess and mother of Princes William and Harry, Princess Diana was painfully accurate on so many levels. And Ben Miles's role as Peter Townsend, the true love of Princess Margaret's life, is nothing short of spot on. John Lithgow played the charismatic Churchill, which surprised many as the American is more than a foot taller than Winston. Regardless, his outlandish personality has helped to capture Churchill's renowned sense of humor, as well as his political brilliance. Some of the show's biggest standout performances include Jared Harris's George VI, Vanessa Kirby's Princess Margaret, and Alex Jennings' Duke of Windsor. And the third, unbelievable detail. Being that the show follows the royals, you can imagine that the budget for the series is rather large, but in sparing no expense to recreate the royals' lavish lifestyle, the show shines bright. First off, there's Elizabeth's wedding, which features the dress that Claire Foy wears as an exact replica of the original, except this one cost them over $50,000. In fact, The Crown seasons 1 and 2 feature not one, but 2 royal weddings. Not only did Elizabeth open up with an ivory silk wedding dress embroidered with an exquisite floral motif, but Margaret later got her own happy ending in 1960 when she married Anthony Armstrong Jones in a streamlined and minimalist gown made from silk organza. After that, the happy couple go on a safari, helping to bring some of the great Commonwealth countries to life, all while using cars, trains, boats, and planes that are relevant to the time period. Some events in the royals' lives are so heavily documented that there was no possibility for the costume designers to reinterpret their clothing. Elizabeth and Margaret's weddings are a great example of this, as was Elizabeth's coronation. Season 1 designer Michelle Clapton, who also created the queenly looks for Dany, Sansa, and Cersei in Game of Thrones, was lucky enough to find a replica coronation gown commissioned for the Queen's Diamond Jubilee in 2012, which featured embroidered floral emblems of the countries under the Queen's imperial rule of gold and silver thread. Outside of the parties and hunts and huge trips to massive manors and banquet halls, Episode 4 even recreates the Great Smog of London, featuring chilling scenes of a city choking on its own oxygen. Not only that, but the show also features a ridiculous 7,000 extras wearing 7,000 different costumes. The result is an aesthetically remarkable TV series that's filled with drama, emotion, humor, and depth. And it might actually make you feel bad for the royals, as if that was ever possible. Also, major significance and accuracy. One question you might be asking is, how much of this Netflix drama is drawn from real history? Well, even though the show undoubtedly strays into the realms of speculation on occasion, much of the action is drawn from the very real personal and political challenges that many of the British royal family faced. From Season 1, which dramatized Queen Elizabeth II's ascension and the early days of her reign with Claire Foy as the young monarch, to the latest Season 4 with Olivia Colman playing the Queen as the monarch of the growing royal family. The Crown has provided an intimate and dramatic portrayal of many figures at the heart of the modern monarchy. However, the show does indeed blend history and fiction, with the series meticulously crafting outfits, hairstyles, and accents that often match reality, making it difficult to distinguish fact from fiction. A recent survey found that 74% of respondents think programs or films that dramatize real-life events should show a warning saying that they don't accurately reflect what actually happens. Even though much of the actual events portrayed in the show are accurate, as well as the costumes and pageantry and some of the smaller details have certainly been dramatized for effect. Season 5 of Peter Morgan's drama will once again feature a new cast, with Imelda Staunton set to portray Her Majesty from the early 1990s onward. So we should be in for some even more exciting revelations in the near future. And finally, Season 5 could be the best one yet. The Crown Season 5 will see Netflix's royal saga move into the 1990s, a period that includes plenty more real-life drama to inspire the show's writer, Peter Morgan. Olivia Colman will be replaced by Imelda Staunton to take the lead role, and Leslie Manville will take over as Princess Margaret. Vanessa Kirby and Helena Bonham Carter won rave reviews for their portrayal of the Queen's sister in Seasons 1 through 4, and now the Oscar-nominated star Leslie Manville will take on the role. Outside of that, Jonathan Pryce, the two popes in Pirates of the Caribbean, will play Prince Philip. Elizabeth Debicki, Peter Rabbit and the Great Gatsby, will play Princess Diana. Dominic West, The Wire and 300, will take over for Josh O'Connor as Prince Charles, and Johnny Lee Miller, Trainspotting and Hackers, will play John Major. Even though no plot details have been released for the next year's series, the final episodes of Season 4 covered the downfall of Margaret Thatcher as Prime Minister. So it seems fairly certain that we'll start with John Major in Downing Street. With the show rumored to be wrapped up in the 1990s, there's plenty of real-life drama for Peter Morgan to work with, not the least of which includes 1992, which the Queen famously dubbed her Annus Horribilis. It was that year in which Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson announced their separation. Princess Anne announced her divorce with Captain Mark Phillips, and Prince Charles revealed he and Diana would be separating. Also, the Windsor Castle caught fire, causing millions of pounds of damage, and the Prime Minister, John Major, announced the Queen was to be taxed from 1993 onwards. Diana's famous 1995 interview with Martin Basher is expected to be featured in some fashion, as are incidents such as the election of Tony Blair and Princess Diana's death. Other moments that could be included are Princess Anne's marriage to Timothy Lawrence in 1992, Britain celebrating the 40th anniversary of VE Day, and the Queen Mother becoming the oldest patient to undergo hip surgery at the age of 95. And with that, it wraps up the video. Thanks for watching.